We're going to start, though, with the game last night. Odell Beckham, Eli Manning. Let me preface this with the following. Wide receivers are different, and they're different for a reason. They're different because they are the only athletes in sports who their success is based almost entirely on someone else's performance. If you're a baseball player, you always get to hit for yourself. If you're a pitcher, the ball's in your hand the whole game. If you're a basketball player, obviously, if you are transcendent, you are the one that matters. In football, there is one position that if someone else stinks or someone else isn't doing their job right, you can't be successful. That is the wide receiver position. That is why when we talk about histrionic players, when we talk about guys that are extra showy or emotional, it tends to be wide receivers because they are in large part helpless without someone else doing their job well. It's interesting, the difference between wide receivers and corners, because they're both some of the most polarizing or extravagant types of players, but very differently. Wide receivers tend to be showy. The great ones, T.O., Moss to a degree, Beckham, Chad Johnson when he was Chad Johnson. Cornerbacks tend to be defiant. It's because the cornerback is the opposite of the wide receiver. Not just that he's the one guarding him, but that cornerbacks are reliant on no one else. They are on an island. Some of the best corners don't even go to the defensive huddle because it doesn't matter what the defense is running. I am locking you up one-on-one up and down this field. That's my job. So the positions they play lead to those personalities. And so then we get Odell Beckham, who is extremely emotional. And people this morning are going to call in 877-757-4373 or tweet to me at @GetNickWright, at Kristine Leahy. You can tweet at the show at The Herd. And they're going to ask for something that does not exist. I want Odell to be great, but I want him to keep his emotions in check. That player does not exist. It is the emotions that allow Odell Beckham to be the guy that he is. It is those emotions in the game where he truly lost his mind against the Panthers last year. What did he do at the end? Beat Josh Norman for what could have been the game-winning touchdown. But Cam then drove his team down the field for the win. That is who he is, for good or for bad. And you know who's benefited from Odell Beckham Jr. more than anyone in the world? Eli Manning. The year before Odell got to New York, Eli was about to play himself out of town. 18 touchdowns, 27 picks, a quarterback rating of 69 that season. 69. He was the worst quarterback in football that year. Then what happened? They drafted Odell, and Eli's entire life changed. The year before Odell, 18 touchdowns, 27 picks. The 2 years after Odell got there, 65 touchdowns, 28 picks. He had the best 2-year stretch of his career. People say, Ben McAdoo came in. Ben McAdoo, another guy who has benefited from Odell Beckham. People say, got to fire Tom Coughlin. We're going to promote McAdoo. Eli's been a different player since McAdoo got there. Eli's a different player because he got Odell Beckham Jr., one of the 5 best wide receivers in football. A guy who became a worldwide star in a moment. The catch against Brandon Carr and the Dallas Cowboys on national television. He was a mid-first round pick out of LSU, not even considered by anybody the top wide receiver in his class. That was Sammy Watkins, the guy the Bills traded away a future first-round pick to go up and get. And from that moment forward that you're seeing on television, Odell went from not one of the 10 most famous members of his draft class to one of the 10 most famous players in the league. And for a large part, he's handled that better than most would. But he's passionate and he's fiery. And the word got out last year, you can get under his skin, especially if you not so vaguely question his sexuality, which is a horrifying thing to do to anybody. And so now teams target him with slightly late hits, with aggressive trash talk, and he's emotional, and he's going to blow up at times. Here's what he needs from his quarterback, whose career he helped turn around. Have his back unconditionally. I need Eli Manning to be shown a video of Odell Beckham Jr. committing a crime, and Eli's response to be, doesn't look like him to me. In fact, he was at my house. I'm his alibi. Fight me. Here's what I don't need Eli to do. Throw Beckham right under the bus after a game that the Giants did not lose because Beckham got a taunting penalty. They lost because on every third down, Eli's sailing the ball out of bounds or into the ground. Give me Eli after the game.
He's got to be aware. People are looking for him, and he's got to play smart, and he just can't afford to do anything. They're going to call him. He's kind of brought that upon himself, so he's got to realize that. No doubt, you can't afford penalties.
He brought that upon himself. He's got to be smart. Have his back, man. You should be buying this guy a car. Look at Eli's career. His whole career prior to Odell getting there. A decade in the league. Quarterback rating below 83. Since he's gotten there, above 91. That's the difference between being a below average quarterback and a pretty damn good quarterback. And it ain't McAdoo, and it's not the scheme. It's Beckham.